There is the order. Agenda Oromocto Council on a committee meeting, Tuesday, November 18th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at the Oromocto Municipal Building. I'll call for a mover for approval of the agenda. Deputy Mayor Mawini, seconder. Councilor Riddow. Questions? All in favor? Contrary? Motion carried. Move right down to 3, the presentations. We got the Oromocto Regional Wellness Recreation Center. We've got the conception design with Anna and Stephen are here, so the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Stephen Klopp, partner and architect at Acre Architects in St. John. With me is Anna, an architect on the project as well. And we are being joined with some members from NJMA Architects. Maybe, yeah, they're there.
Oh, they're there.
Okay, somewhere. So yeah, we've got Rob and Matt and Ricardo from NJMA. They're, if you don't know them, you'll get to meet them. That they're recreation experts in Canada. Arenas, pools, anything, libraries too, actually. So anything community based. So really great partnership. And we're actually working together on a project at Riverview under construction, pool and the gym. And most recently the Aquatic Center in St. John, I think swimmers were working on that event for the Canada's Summer Games, and with that as well on both of us. So yeah, thank you very much. So we're really here to give an update as to where we're kind of point in time in a pre-design. We've been working with the city staff since midsummer, I think, pretty much bi-weekly, and going over and developing site program, optimizing everything we can, and share where we are in the journey with you. But we know you've been investigating this for a long time and have done some pre-work, so we're really excited to kind of build on that and really help make this a reality for you.
Great, so we'll jump into, thank you, Stephen, the up is down, down is up. Yeah, sure, the opposite. I think your laser might be connected to the Teams, is that right? Or should we minimize the Teams? Will that?
Is it? It might be. Is it on the side? The power?
Yeah, it's on.
Right.
It is on, but I think it's just that the Teams thing might be active. It's yeah, clicking. It's actually clicking the camera of the Teams.
Oh, okay.
If can that be minimized? And then we'll see if it ever works. Try maybe the Zoom too. Might need to minimize the Zoom also.
That's me though.
Oh, okay. Well, I can advance it for you.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. We'll take the next slide then. Just quickly, agenda, what we're going through today, we're going to talk a bit about the schedule, the context of the site of the project. We've got some concept diagrams to go through. We're going to talk about the site and landscape opportunities here, and then we have some floor plans and program diagram. So here's sort of a high level schedule where we are now. As Stephen mentioned, we started working with the town staff in the summer on this project in July. Right now we're in the middle of November, can you believe it? And we're here for a council project update. This is it's an update, so it's for your information. We're not seeking any decisions tonight, but we will be coming back after our schematic design report has been developed in January, and then we'll be back again at the next stage when we get more detailed design, aiming for April. If everything were to go as planned and funding falls into place, then we could issue this project for tender as early as July of next year, with a construction timeline of about 30 months estimated on this project. So all those little black lines and dots you can see there, meetings that we're having bi-weekly with town staff focusing on specific areas of the project development. And that's been a really wonderful process so far, very engaged. Okay, so where this project is so this I'm sure I don't have to tell all of you that we think this is a really a wonderful opportunity for not just the community of Oromocto, but it has an opportunity for a regional reach. We see this as it's a project of connections and opportunities to connect. It's in a part of your community that is very much family oriented, has a great access to other community spaces and institutions. We really see this opportunity, this project as an opportunity to further connect and weave together the community in that area. So if we go to the next slide, please. So we did initially when we looked at the immediate community, those lines, those circles that you had, that's about a 5-minute walking radius and a 10-minute walking radius, and a 15-minute walking radius. So this project's really right at the heart of this residential community, and it will focus on being a good neighbor to the immediate adjacent properties, and also try to take advantage of its adjacency and how close it is to some of those other spaces, like, of course, we've got the high school, Acres, actually, the designer of the new nursing home that's just a block away from here is going to have 60 new residents and 150 staff members in there as well. So,
Soon.
so that's it's a really exciting spot. So we can go to the next slide. Stephen's going to talk a bit about some of our explorations.
Yeah, so just early thoughts on, taking the program, which will show you the plans, you've probably seen them a little bit anyway, but thinking about this, is that you've got those 3 amenities, in the arena, the gym, and the library. There's other amenities in there, but the 3 core, pieces there. So really thinking about that, like Anna said, again, it's, on the broader scale, coming to the site scale, it's really at the heart of the community, in a specific, family-oriented, active lifestyle. But also, there's the clinic in there and the library, so really fantastic. So we're trying to see how do we weave those 3 together in a way that actually benefits the whole community. People are going to come in just to play hockey, people are come in just to get a book, but that overlapping in the middle is what we really are excited about, and that's kind of what we're looking at. So we looked at the ideas of river and river runs through it, and how do people kind of come in, how do we make this really engaging. It is, a sizable building, you have that program, right? So you welcome people in. And then we looked at kind of streams and how these nodes can kind of feel like they're in the park. So that's something we're coming, like Anna said, back in June, we're going to show you schematic design, but just some early thoughts on how we're kind of, using the ideas of that heart of community to form that building plan, I guess you could say. Next slide. So you're now north of Zach, so updoors, would connect to the field just above this image, the broader field, and then the high school, and of course the seniors home. So we've got oriented parking in 2 sections, one to the north, one to the south, so it connects to Hubbard and Huron. So total of 315 overall, which we've done a lot of studies with NGMA. They've done so many of these that they've got a really good feel of optimizing that to not have excess, but also you want to have enough. And then the linear park, like Anna started to describe, can now connect that active and family lifestyle into future activities and programs to the north. But it also is acting stormwater management, because you've got a large roofscape, parking space. So we're kind of together with the landscape architects and civil engineers starting now to develop that and as an amenity. So taking that stormwater management and creating that as a positive. So we've got what's forming up to be, in a way, three different kind of distinct zones. You've got the entry plaza, making that really welcome, that sort of north east side, and a little grove, existing trees, which you drive by the Jamal School, you can actually see standing there. It's quite nice. So we're calling that the Grove. That would be off more of the arena entry, we'll show you in a second. And then that linear park again, which can be filled with multiple active little different zones over time, between amphitheaters to little play spaces. So really, really exciting spot. Anna and I just drove by a few minutes ago to see the sunset to the west there, and it's really cool. It's cool down. You can see like over the river there. It's we're really excited about the site.
It was glowing.
Yeah.
just on the site, I'll also mention that there's existing trees along the west and along the northeast, and also a little grove of trees that is currently, when if you're coming in, coming in as if it was the school before, to the left of it there on, we're working to maintain as much of all of those trees, including most of that grove right now with the Senate plan too. It's nothing like opening a building and having to church trees
Yeah.
on day one instead of this little sticks. So we speak just a little bit here to program optimization too. So with this for July, a lot of work had been done on the programming of this project, and there was about a gross square footage of the building about 100,000, a little more than 100,000 square feet. And one of our first tasks was to analyze that program and see if there were ways to optimize it and make it efficient while still delivering on the programming needs and all of the program that was laid out for the project here too. So through that exercise, we've been able to reduce it to our target gross flare right now is around a little over 90,000 or 90,000 square feet. So that was I think we think a successful exercise. In some ways, I think we've enhanced the program through that process as well. So we'll go to the next slide. Okay. So I'm going to try to walk through the floor plan without a laser. So thank goodness for color. Yeah, so Stephen talked here about how the building is really sort of reaching out, the different programs reaching out and connecting itself to the site and to the community around it. Those three major program components, the library, the gym, and the arena are placed to optimize opportunities. The library is really nestled in the park right now. The gym has a great presence on the street, and of course the arena being like the biggest program component has access to that really important back of house, and parking will also have a street presence of its own, which is exciting, and an opportunity to twin the pad there where it's placed on the site. But what is really exciting that's happening here is in between those spaces is this yellow space, which is it's not just your lobby, it's your opportunity for your community gathering space. So that's a community social hub. It has access to, of course, the staff and the reception. There's an opportunity to sit along this new linear park. So the views, even as soon as you come into that building, you can see the library, you can see the rink, you can see a person who's going to help you. As you get in a bit further, you're connected to the gym. And also we'll get to it, you can see the walking track above. That orange block that's at the sort of in the middle there, where you can kind of see all the different square rooms right now. That is the clinic space that's part of the program. That is designed so that it can operate on different hours than the whole center. So there's access right off the main vestibule. The rest of the center can be locked. People can come and go there. So it can operate somewhat independently, while also taking advantage of the fact that it has access to all those great recreation wellness spaces. I'll just on the arena, so it's an NHL size arena, 1,000 seats. The change rooms are what you see flanking the right hand side in the blue. The gym is a double gymnasium space with adjacent changing areas as well. That purple space that is up by the library, I'll just mention that is a multi-purpose room, which we've got some really exciting ideas about how that can be a flexible space used by the center, open to expand the lobby, open to expand the library, and used by the library. So it's definitely one of the key drivers of this plan. Beyond space planning efficiency has also been about creating really flexible spaces and also highly multi-purpose spaces. So your arena, of course, is going to be used for hockey and figure skating, but it can also be used for concerts, trade shows, art shows. Your gym can be used as a ballroom. You know, there's lots of different uses for these spaces where you'll be looking for your community to come together and connect. Okay, so on the second floor, so we're really excited, right in the heart of that lobby space. On the second floor is your walking track. The walking track's about 110 meters long, and it's going to have a really varied experience around that. So you're going to be able to see the lobby, you'll be able to peek into the arena, you'll get a view of the gym, you'll be able to look at outside, see down to the library, people coming and going. So it's a 2-lane walking track. And one of the great things about placing it there, as you know, that often these walking tracks end up in arenas, but if it's arenas being used, then you don't have access to your walking track if it's a big ticketed event. So in this case, it can be open and accessible. I mean, these walking tracks are so popular and they serve such a great range of ages and abilities. So we're not, like I said, with the experience, but also how we think that will reach more people how as we communicate. And then on the right hand side of the rink there, that's where you have your seating for your arena. Majority is top loading. There's some also on your west side of your arena as well. And so your concourse with everything that's in gray is probably a washroom or storage or mechanical, something along those lines, which we've been working closely with our engineers to sort all the needs for those as well. So that's the second floor.
So here you can see, you know, the main floor, just for context, together with, you know, at snapshot at time, we're still working on this live, but you can see the context of the park. So the access, you know, from the library, all the potential outdoor, you know, either outdoor kind of classrooms or learning opportunities or just activities and programming that can go on. And like Anna said, the heart of that space and what we're just showing in the diagram is yellow, but all that in between space where all these amenities are kind of mixing have access to the 3 kind of different landscapes. And we think that's going to be really exciting for the community. And then to the south there, you know, the back of house, the necessary parts of the arena, which will kind of really be the engine for driving efficiency as well. And we are, I think I mentioned, like creating space for the potential future twin pad. So we're keeping that in mind as we, you know, work on the stormwater management and the overall planning. And then also the gym over there, the you know, again, views into it. It's kind of an active piece of the puzzle. But if you picture, you know, January driving by and get to see kids play basketball and stuff as it's dark out, it's really nice to have an amenity like that is visible, more visible. And again, I think Anna mentioned, yeah, so that on the concourse of the arena, you know, we're going to look at, you know, potential views out there that could actually have some glass, and again, allow people to kind of see it and see what program this is. And the walking track, like Anna said, we're super excited about that. Many different varied views and interests of that, including the, you know, the landscape of the entry, but also it's going to have views out over that lobby to the kind of linear park, which I think is very cool. Very cool. So I think we'll be back in January. I know we will. And we're really excited to be part of the team and working with Don and Stu. Yeah, we're super excited about it.
Excited. Thank you.
Any comments or questions, council? Councilor Kirkbride?
Thank you, Worship. I just have one question because I can't really quite tell from the diagram. I don't know how detailed the diagram is as it yet. It's getting more and more. It's just
Pretty high level right now.
pretty high level. Is it,
Yeah,
like wide? Still a lot of
Yeah.
whatever. I was just wondering how many dressing rooms the rink is planning on having.
Yeah, so I believe we have, there's peaks, but there are 4 traditional and there are 4 that we're currently working on developing something that's more flexible. They're not the typical arena change rooms that you would see. They're more so responding to more flexible needs of the arena. Okay, so there's a mix, but that we're in the midst of the details.
Yeah, actually, I could tell by the diagram, it's like
Yeah.
more traditional there. I wasn't sure about the other ones, because. Living in that world, I know that, arena nowadays, just 4 tiny dressing rooms is not.
Yeah, so
Whereas hockey, we're at. All kinds of different variables that come into play. For, but having those other options.
Yeah, so there'd be 8 enclosed changing room spaces.
Councilor Dodd?
Thank you. This is probably not a smart question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. I know it's 2 levels. And I can see that the arena's on the bottom, and then the seating is on top. And I know that the walking track is above the clinic type thing. So is the library two levels or 1?
The library program is on 1 level.
So what's above the library?
Right now, there's there's height, there's a structure, it's a smaller space.
You see it from the walk.
You do have to,
So it's not
yeah.
assigned, it's something that not assigned, or is it just open space?
It's just open space, there's no section. pretty much. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, there'll probably be some mechanical equipment that's, there will be some mechanical, that's probably, but yeah. Know what, it'll work. So the walking track, you would likely be peeking down, center, like down to get open space to the library open up to the lot. There might be opportunities for visual direction.
that was good, right?
Yeah. I was coming,
I'm assuming the gym's the same, it's just another high ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm on the walking tour, when I'm walking by the gym, I'm looking, I can see the gym, when I go around the library, will I be able to see in the library too?
Not by this.
Not into the library, but you'll see kind of like where the
Oh,
library
yeah,
entry,
yeah.
I guess you could say.
and I think, and
On the
I'm
walking
seeing,
tour?
right now, we're looking at the diagram where there's actually just a line right there too, we're developing this a bit further to understand how they're looking at this. For this line right here.
Yeah, that's.
That's.
I
think
would say when they come back in
Yeah.
January, you're gonna see it then,
Okay.
and you're gonna like it.
Okay, wow.
Thank you, that's surprise. I can understand the rink, and I can understand the walking trail above that, but then I thought, well, isn't the library
Yeah, yeah,
level, so 1 level, what's above it?
yeah, at this stage, we were investigating the height of the library, as well, we.
Okay.
We will have an answer for you come January.
Yeah.
You know where my focus is.
The library.
Yeah. We're looking at options for where it might can come into that space as well.
And I loved when you said that
You can look down, it's this.
that space has entry from the library, because that will make sense of whatever, some of the programming, if it's available.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilor Carr? Thank you, Richard. I think I just answered a question by looking at another slide. I came wholly unprepared tonight, I left my iPad. The space in the middle of the track is not, and when I first saw it, I imagined looking down into the atrium or the lobby. It's not solid there.
No, we're actually looking at that as an opportunity for mechanical space.
Okay, so
You're-
like a tower.
Yeah.
Is a bit of a different shape. And being 2 lanes, I guess we kind of both just kind of brought this up, and I was thinking, what's the width of 2 lanes? I was wondering for use wise.
Yeah.
Have, nice corners, I just.
Yeah.
It's not gonna probably be people running as much as, maybe not just seniors, but people walking at a slower pace rather than doing cardio sprints, right?
It's too late for that option.
Right, is that kind of a standard within that radius of the turns? Like, it's just not what I envisioned, there's nothing wrong with it, I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Where my head's still not around the size of breadth of this building. Is that enough space for a decent number of people, or how is that figured out, I guess, since you know the width of.
I wanna say something, but can anyone from MGMA who has drawings in front of them pull a dimension or firm? I think it's probably.
They're there.
They're there, but they can't hear or they can't
Or
talk.
maybe the mic.
I can say that we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's great, actually.
That's nice.
That's perfect. I'm assuming access is through elevators.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions, Councilman? No?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, Chamber.
Start with.
That's right. This would be. So, and not only that, is, yeah.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll move now to the departmental reports. We'll start with the Department of Engineering and Public Works. Are there any questions or comments? Concerns? Okay, we'll move to the Department of Finance. Any concerns, questions? Right? We'll move to Planning and Compliance Department. No issues, questions? Okay. We'll move to Department of Human Resources. Nothing, okay. We'll move to the Department of Recreation and Tourism. Nothing. We'll move to the Oromocto Fire Department. Questions, concerns? We'll move to Department of Corporate Services. Questions, concerns? Okay. Then we'll move right down to, 5A, the plow truck purchase with, David Goodland's gonna handle that from Engineering and Public Works.
Good evening, your worship, councilors. Public Works is putting in a request for decision regarding a new plow truck / sander. The siting was budgeted 2023. To replace a 2009 Phantom plow truck. The proposed plow truck is to be fitted with a snow removal attachment. Used for roads in the winter and as a dump truck in the summer. It's a year-round asset for maintaining essential public infrastructure. Town had previously issued a replacement tender through the NPON. Serviced back in March of 2024, we had no bids due to vehicle shortages at the time. We revisited that recently through the new site, alternative to NPON. And we've got some prices for the truck chassis and then the snowplow themselves. So the truck chassis came in at $203,000. It's a 2025 frame meter. Snowplow equipment, we get 2 quotes on that for $97,204 from La Rochelle. And Saunders equipment for $219,000. So at the we had a budgeted set aside $500,000 back in 2023. We dipped into that bid for $12,000 for a additional snowplow blade for another piece of equipment at the time. So combining the two lowest prices of the chassis and the snowplow put together, we're up to 400,204. Plus HST, remaining budget 488,000. These were coming in under the 2023 budget.
Nice.
Good, yeah, which is surprising.
That's about the only thing.
Yeah.
They just used it up for 1 year. Oh,
So the request is to purchase the chassis of the truck, which is basically just the cab and frame. Purchase that, then you deliver that to the snowplow manufacturer, then he starts putting on the attachments.
Oh, perfect.
So if you get that now, there is a truck available. You ship that off, and then the plowing equipment should be ready sometime around June, July. And get that, by the time we get it back and get it fitted, and things like that, I would set up for next season. Good. So. And then, our engineering department first is asking council for approval of the quote, the purchase of the truck chassis. Valley equipment in the amount of 203,000 plus HST. And once the truck is submitted to their shell, then they can start with their part, which wouldn't be invoiced until 2022.
Yeah. That's warm and fuzzy, council. Perfect. Thanks, Dave. We go to 5B, the placement of a memorial signage with Becky Dunn of Recreation and Tourism.
Thank you, your worship. I come tonight with a request for decision, regarding some, placement of memorial signage in honor of, Ben Noseworthy. I was approached by, Melissa McLaughlin on behalf of a group that was, involved with, Ben's, fundraising tournament for the golf, day that they had in, October, I believe it was. They reached out to see if they could use some of the wording that we used in our post, acknowledging, Ben and his, importance to our department, and, I was able to provide the permission for the wording. However, I'm here to seek council permission for the placement of signage. I believe there was a copy, the template that they created. We're looking at 18 by 24-inch signs. They'd like to just, put in the areas where Ben had coached or been involved in a volunteer capacity, just to remind the young players that he coached of what he represented, and that they could carry that forward as they continue as athletes in our community. I did request that they reach out to the Noseworthy family to ensure that they've had permission. Tara has acknowledged that the design itself and the placement. So I'm here to see if council has any questions or how they would like to proceed with this request.
Questions or comments, council? Council Dodd?
Thank you, Your Honor. I think it's a wonderful initiative. I do have some reservations though about, I just added up the spots. Are they looking to put signs on all 7 locations?
Yes.
And my next, not that I don't think Ben is not deserving of being recognized, but in the disadvantaged section, as Lily pointed out, we are setting a precedent for different things. And I know that we've named the field, the Washburn field, and the different things like that. I'm just wondering if we aren't going to set a precedent when we start putting signs up for people that we want to recognize for their contribution, however, be it a staff or not a staff person, but somebody who has done something, quite favorable in the town. Saying that, I don't disapprove of maybe a few, but I don't know if we need them all over the place.
Council Paul Victor?
Your worship, thank you. I represent the opposite to that argument. You go to any ball fields, any rinks, there's always fair play signage, there's always indications of that. My question is why don't we put them at every youth facility we have for rinks and ball fields? Because you need that kind of signage to remind the parents, basically, to act right. But I would say put them at all the recreation areas. And he was a town employee. And like I say, you see these signs everywhere espousing the same things. I think it's a great tribute to a former employee.
I think they hit almost everything in that
thing in.
But I put the.
Pretty much, that covers everything.
All recreational spots, cause you see those type signs anyway.
Yeah, so this is pretty much most of our.
So you said most.
Yeah.
I
I think
I
the
was
only one we've
just-
been missing might be, the skate park, for example, so
Yeah.
these are the majority of our recreation facilities.
Yeah, I think that's come on.
I'd like to see one in the Lincoln School Park. Too.
Oh, yeah.
Your worship, that one I would have to. That would be through the school district, however.
Yeah.
I cannot make that request from the school district, not through town council, but I can ask the group to look into that.
Perfect.
Oh, yes.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Worship. Although I appreciate the sentiment that has been expressed by Councillor Dodd, and you understand where she's coming from. My mind did go exactly where Councillor Von Richards did anyway, is that, you know, these, other than the picture part. Like all of those things that are on the sign are things for which municipalities should be doing anyway, and promoting fair play within all of their facilities and portraying positive values with youth. So I'm very much in favor, and I do believe that they should be going up in all of the locations that are indicated.
Councilor Murdoch?
Yeah, and I'm sort of in the same boat. I totally agree with what Councilor Don was opening up, because that is sort of a common theme for us. When we start doing these things, we always want to think of the Pandora box, the obvious. But we, you know, it is a world that these signs are prevalent and they're up there for whatever reason. The fact that we get fortunate enough to have one up there that's in a namesake for a community member, I think that makes it extra special. The only thing I probably would worry about is the picture. Only because, you know, what people do with pictures. But that's just me, just picking at something. I think that it's great that we have an option. And that oddly enough, the traits that you're putting out there are the things that, like Councilman Richard said, you see already in the mix. You already see, like, they all have it. We get ours personalized with somebody that walked the walk and spoke this, so I think we're very fortunate to have that. Is there a little bit of precedence that you gotta worry about? I think so, but, you know, I've never been opposed to having our town personalized when it comes to community members. Anyways, one of the people with Louis Boy Washburn and all this, and I've never been opposed. I've always thought when I've gone into communities, our kids in sports and their things are named after people, or they have a plaque in the rink where you get to read about who did what. I love that stuff. And I love going to Grand Falls and seeing all the people that participate to make that rink. And so I love the idea of it. But I totally respect what the council was saying. We, you know, you don't want to, maybe we're fortunate or not unfortunate, I don't know how to look at it, that this one will be one that we can carry for a long time and we don't feel like we have to do it every 5 years. That's just not, you know.
So is it warm and fuzzy, council?
Yeah, I think it's great.
I would ask, though, council, if I am able to, as part of that recommendation, enter in some kind of agreement with the users that they would be responsible for placement of signs that they are damaged or worn. Moving forward, or, for example, if we do find that, the photos getting left out, that they replace them with, signage that does not have a picture on it. They did request from us, the photo, I think, that Cindy may have provided to us, so that's something they had asked to put on there. But again, I can grateful, agree with them on responsibility for those things.
Von Richard?
Yeah, I just wanna circle back to the request if it's defaced or it needs to be replaced, that we ask the representatives. I'm not in favor of that. These are signs that we're gonna put up in our facilities anyway, for a public purpose. It's no different than don't spit on the floor, you know, don't run on the pool deck. This is a part of the building. These are signs we should have up, and I think to go back to the group that requested or to the family. I'm not comfortable with that, that's, if we think they should be there, we should be looking after the maintenance of it. I
Do you
mean,
mean like the family that put it up was gonna be responsible, or the hypothetically hates, you know,
The group.
the group that created this?
It'd be similar to, we have a sign in, Gateway Trails that was dedicated to us by a group, and we make the same parameters that it's damaged, it needs replaced, then they replace it.
And Leroy Boschman Field, is that on us?
That's a.
Different kind of
That was a
thing,
name,
it's a title?
it was a name.
Yeah.
Scenario. Be similar, council just approved to have a bench placed in Gateway Trail in honor of, Ducks Unlimited. And they have that Ducks Unlimited is responsible for the maintenance
Okay.
repair of that.
Okay.
It's been too slow.
Councilor Dow, you enter.
No.
Yep. Councilor Carr?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Councilor Von Richards saying. If that's the program we're following as a town, like, so I do understand that, if that is the, you do see that in arenas and on ball fields now, you respect the refs, you respect the umps or the coaches or the. As long as that's to say, like, we don't need to post one placard or one sign on the wall that says it, and then kind of say, that's the one we go with, I'm in favor, and I think we do take that on. If that's what the town is committing to that wording for that, if it's serving that purpose, if it's an additional.
That's where I'm a little more like,
I think that's a bigger decision maybe outside of this discussion, but.
There are existing signage in some of our facilities, some we've put up, some of them are, for example, correct me, minor hockey has their rules of regulations. Or their fair play. That's
Limited to that's organization, right?
right, so this would be, these are signages to honor bands,
Yeah.
and his message, not so much creating.
Our organizational, right, yeah, okay, so that's.
Councilor Dow?
Do we have a policy or is this something that we need to start looking at? I'm only thinking of perhaps down the road. When other prominent, I'll say it, when Bill Jarrett happens to go. I'm sure that there's going to be people who wish to recognize Bill, because they do now with the tournament, maybe ball tournament is enough, but I'm just thinking we start with one and people see it, maybe when something else happens, they'll want to also do it. I know the Gateway's a different thing, if that was all individual and people paid and put those benches in there 10, 12 years ago, I can't believe it's been that long. And now they're deteriorating and we are slowly taking them out. But perhaps it's a point where we need to look at something like that.
I've actually, already spoke to the CAO, because I'm working on a draft for, the placement and purchase of benches similar to what we have there. So I've been researching with some other communities and what they would do there. They're normally done in, timeline, so we would pay X amount for 5 years for the purchase of it, and then we would maintain for 5 years after that. Then might have to renew that, because after a while, it does add up with expenses. For things such as this, it follows on all under policy we have for naming policies, which is why I come to council each time. So there is a policy, however, it's very loose in its parameters, and it's just to come seek council's permission with that.
So this falls under the naming policy,
It would-
like
well,
Hazen Center and all the
this
buildings?
doesn't really enough for this, there's no spot really for this one.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, because it might be signs this time, it could be a bench, it could be,
Yeah.
so it's different things, and that's why it's kind of case by case. It would be, I think, difficult to try to find an overreaching one for everything that comes through, such as these. That's why I was trying to create similar, maintenance piece to it when we're reviewing them, so that, groups understand that it's not just a matter, it's like anything, it's operating, it's the big cost when things happen, not the issue.
And one last follow-up, who determines when it's not appropriate to stay up?
Our main staff.
Okay.
And that's what we've done. If, for example, you've taken pieces of the benches off at Gateway, that means that the back wasn't safe, the back up, but left the bottom because that part was safe. If we get to the point where we think it would be dangerous for the bottom, then we'll take that whole set. And so that's how we would, approach it, that's the same part.
So if the signs, I know other than Ben's face.
Yeah.
With the mustache on it.
Yeah.
But if they're scratched up or
Then,
vandalized in any way,
right, our main staff.
okay,
Say we need another one, we take that one down, I would check this group to have it replaced. We would put them up, but they would,
so are they potentially going on the fencing or are they gonna be freestanding?
they would be right in the fence. So we designed them so that there's 4 holes in the corner, so we could in either piece of zip ties or wire and hook them to the fence. And then at Kings Arrow, they would just mount it over the wall, so.
At the track, is your sign freestanding? It is now, is it?
Yes.
It is now.
Counselor Murdoch's is, because of the wind, and we think that's what caused the fence to fall last time, because it secured.
They
The
were
sign, so that's why it's separate, the small, the sign is
That's
this
what-
big, and it shouldn't
okay.
be affected by wind.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
And with that, I know that, you know, for me, for example, I got my sign, I'm under the understanding that my sign at the football field, if it gets to the point where it's not looking good or wear and tear, that you would approach me and say, okay, your sign can be replaced. And I always took that as that's my obligation, just for the sake of who's doing it. It's my sign, I paid for the sign
Is it
stuff, so
paid?
if the other group is, because I assume they're paying for the signs.
That's fair.
They're paying for the signs and putting it up. It almost falls into the same thing as I do, that if my sign starts looking crappy, then Jackie goes, you need to order a new one for next season. And I knew, and that's with all the things that we do in, at least in our industry, that's kind of the way it's done. Almost like and you were talking about money bought in, it's almost like a sponsorship, and you're talking about benches, but with that, it's like, if you're sponsoring a team. And for 3 years, and then they need new tracksuits and stuff, you better come back in with money to keep going past the 3, like, you're a sponsor for 3 years to cover everything, but as soon as that 3 years up, you gotta bring money back to the table to stay in. So that's sort of like the benches, if they're gonna wanna maintain the benches and put them there, then they're gonna have to bring money back in for either a new product that you guys deem to be better, or redo it, and that's sort of the way out we think of it as a sponsorship kind of concept, at least that's how I always thought.
Okay, so, once again, is it warm and fuzzy? Perfect. Okay, thanks, Dick. Thank you. We'll move to 5C, the policy amendments, it'd be 5C1 and 5C2, and Peter Wong from Corporate Services are gonna handle that.
Your Worship, Council, our regular, policy update, there's 2 for this month. One is around compensation for injury on duty. We had introduced this a couple of years ago as brand new, so it was time to sort of go back and check our experiences and see what we've changed. So, everything there, we made, basically 3 changes, 70.5, I'll just kind of talk through that one, because that's sort of, it's a bit of a more, holistic change for the, we are excluding, employees will not accrue vacation or leave credits while on compensation for any, duty. The intent of that is to really exclude the long-term injuries where we end up having to accrue 2 years of vacation. Sick, and so someone comes back after, which is a benefit that's, industries, et cetera, that, that they can get back to work, not have a 3rd year off, and so on and so forth. So we made that recommendation. We did that carefully with lots of research and between the North Save, other agencies, other municipalities. We also took that to the union and made sure that there was lots of discussion. Especially with the IAF, as you guys would be aware, and we didn't come to a consensus, but we did have quite a robust discussion, and we ended up, where we are today, we're gonna make a recommendation for us to update this policy as is, discussed.
So is this the wording it's now gonna be, or is that what you're taking out, the yellow part?
Sorry?
Is that the yellow part, is that the wording it's now gonna be?
Yeah, it's that one.
That's how it's worded now as opposed to, and you just added that onto that? Or you changed it around?
I think the yellow part.
It's
The yellow is new, but that's what I'm thinking, it's not, like, sometimes they highlight, but okay, this is what's new.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Whatever's new, whatever's yellow is new. If we like it, we're good, yeah. So the other one is the replacement of the substance abuse policy with Jordan for the new policy. So it's a broader sort of encompassing, not just substance abuse, but for fatigue and other, matters that would relate to work, yeah. And then we also, part of the policy is that we went a little deeper on the substance use section where we were providing a bit more follow-up, and when they come back, so it's look, one of the things that we're looking to do is prevent one of these yo-yo issues of coming back off every month and so it's part of the policy to do a little bit more care, a bit more work around that. Again, this was, this was around, meetings, both meetings I was at as well. It's pretty, everything from what it was before. And they were happy with this, so, I think this was making one good fight.
Deputy Mayor? Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Just very quickly, this policy, was it created internally from scratch, or were there policies from other jurisdictions that were used as a baseline to help create and modify into what we have today? And then my second part of the question is, would a policy like this have already been vetted through legal counsel to make sure that everything that is contained therein is, it follows the appropriate checks and balances?
Yeah, for sure, yes, this policy was researched around other municipalities. And so, and we vetted through that. The end of that policy has a form that we vetted, which we modify as part of the discussion with union. Just around the privacy, so we modify that a little bit so that we're more neutral. It's an invasion of privacy issue. And part of the change for being a broader policy is that when we talk about somebody who's on a substance abuse policy, then we're telling people he's on a substance abuse. It's a substance abuse issue. So when we talk about an employee who's on this policy, but it's legal, it's greater policy umbrella.
Okay, warm and fuzzy, council? Okay, thanks, Peter. We'll move to 5D, the website redesign with Assistant Clerk Cindy.
Thank you, Your Worship. As many of you know, our website is due for renewal. We had budgeted for it in 2025. It's been over a decade since we've last done a redesign on the website. And, as we've added more content, it's become increasingly difficult to navigate, and it's not really mobile friendly. So those were some of the key areas that we were looking at when we sent out an RFP through the New Brunswick Opportunities Network. I'm pleased to say that we had 21 companies respond to that particular RFP. It took us quite a bit of time to go through all of those proposals. Review committee was struck with the information service coordinator, who does a lot of work on our website, as well as the executive assistant to the mayor and CAO. And narrowed it down to 4 companies. And we selected and recommending for council's consideration that we go with ICS Creative Agency. They submitted a proposal in the amount of $29,625. We're looking at a process that would see us concluded in and about June, I would say, if everything goes as planned. And I'm just looking for a resolution from council and would entertain any questions if you have any.
Questions, Councillor Dodd?
Thank you, Cindy. That was really spread in some of those. Is it just their fee, or was there something in the content that they were hired?
Oh geez, and these were the top 4. There were some that were even higher. And some that were a little bit less, but didn't provide the full scale of what we were looking for in the redesign.
So the 30,000 roughly is going to give us everything that you're asking for?
Yes, absolutely.
Any other comments? All right, please, that's been a positive. Okay, thank you. We'll move to five E, the eighteenth of October 2025 draft minutes are before you. If there's any errors or omissions, please let Cynthia know as soon as possible. And on that note, now I'll call for an adjournment. I need a mover. Counselor Kirkbride, seconder. Counselor Henry, questions? All in favor? Contrary, motion carried.